If everything feels boring lately, if focusing feels harder than it used to, and if discipline feels heavy, forced, or almost impossible, your brain might not be lazy. It might be burned out. And the most dangerous thing about dopamine burnout is that it doesn't feel dramatic. It doesn't feel like a breakdown. It doesn't feel like something is obviously wrong. It feels quiet, subtle. You still function, you still scroll, you still get through the day, but something feels off and you can't quite explain why. Things that used to excite you don't anymore. Tasks that require effort feel strangely overwhelming. Even small responsibilities create resistance. And discipline feels like something you used to have but can't access anymore. You start blaming yourself. You think you've lost motivation. You assume you've become weaker or less capable. But what's actually happening is much deeper than that. In this video, I'm going to explain what dopamine burnout really is, how it silently destroys focus and discipline, and how to reset your brain in a realistic way without quitting modern life or punishing yourself. Because this isn't about forcing discipline. It's about restoring the mental system that makes discipline possible in the first place. To understand this, we first need to talk about what dopamine actually does. Most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical, but that's not accurate. Dopamine is not pleasure. Dopamine is anticipation. It's the signal your brain uses to decide what is worth pursuing. It's what gives effort meaning before the reward arrives. When dopamine works properly, your brain can tolerate discomfort. It can delay gratification. It can stay focused on things that don't pay off immediately. It can say, "This is hard, but it's worth it." Dopamine is what allows discipline to exist at all. Without it, effort feels empty. But when dopamine is constantly overstimulated, something subtle and dangerous happens. Your brain slowly stops responding to normal levels of effort and reward. The same way loud noise slowly damages hearing, constant stimulation slowly damages motivation. And this is where burnout really begins. We live in an environment that relentlessly stimulates dopamine. Infinite scrolling, short-form videos, notifications, fast content, instant feedback, constant novelty. Your brain is exposed to more stimulation in a single day than it evolved to handle in weeks, sometimes even months. So your nervous system adapts. It raises the baseline. What used to feel interesting now feels flat. What used to feel rewarding now feels neutral. What used to feel challenging now feels exhausting. Your brain hasn't become lazy. It has become overfed. This is why boredom feels unbearable. This is why silence feels uncomfortable. This is why focusing on one task feels painful. Not because you lack discipline, but because your brain has been trained to expect constant stimulation, constant change, and constant reward. Once that happens, effort starts to feel like punishment. Your brain quietly learns a new rule. Why focus slowly when reward is instant? Why struggle when relief is one swipe away? Why stay present when escape is always available? This is the moment discipline starts to disappear. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually. You start procrastinating more. You switch tasks faster. You open your phone without thinking. You avoid depth. You escape the moment things feel even slightly uncomfortable. At first it seems harmless, but over time your attention span begins to shrink. Your tolerance for effort drops and your ability to stay with one thing slowly erodes. Eventually you reach a confusing place. You want to change, you want discipline, you want focus and clarity, but you don't have the mental energy to sustain it. Even when you try, you feel drained quickly. And this feels deeply personal. You start thinking something is wrong with you. But nothing is wrong with you. Your brain is overloaded. At this point, many people make the same mistake. They try extreme solutions. They quit everything at once. They do aggressive dopamine detoxes. They isolate themselves. They force discipline through discomfort, deprivation, and pressure. This almost always backfires because discipline built on punishment never lasts. Your brain doesn't learn strength from suffering. It learns avoidance. When self-improvement becomes associated with pain, your nervous system starts resisting it automatically, often without you realizing it. That's why extreme resets often collapse after a few days. The mind rebels. Old habits return even stronger, and people feel disappointed, frustrated, and even more broken than before. A real dopamine reset is not extreme. It's subtle. It's not about removing pleasure from your life. It's about restoring balance. The goal is not to feel miserable. The goal is to make effort feel rewarding again, and to make focus feel natural instead of forced. And that starts by reducing unnecessary stimulation, not eliminating it, reducing it. This means fewer notifications, less multitasking, less background noise, less constant switching between apps, tabs, and content. It means giving your brain fewer signals to chase and fewer distractions to manage. Your brain needs space. Space to recalibrate, space to slow down, space to feel boredom again. Because boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the doorway back to focus. When stimulation drops, something important happens. Your attention span starts to stretch again. Simple tasks stop feeling unbearable. Silence becomes tolerable. Effort feels lighter, not because you force discipline, but because your brain is no longer overwhelmed. This is when discipline starts returning naturally, not as pressure, not as motivation, but as clarity. You don't need to push yourself as hard. You don't need to negotiate with your mind constantly. You don't need heroic willpower just to get through the day, because your nervous system is no longer fighting you at every step. And this leads to the most important insight of all. Discipline is not something you add on top of a broken system. Discipline is a side effect of a healthy mind. When your brain isn't overstimulated, when dopamine isn't constantly hijacked, and when your attention isn't fragmented all day long, discipline stops feeling heroic. It starts feeling normal. It feels like something you naturally return to, not something you force yourself into. So if discipline feels impossible right now, don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Ask instead, "What is my brain being trained to expect every single day?" Because your environment is shaping your nervous system constantly. And once you change the input, the output changes with it. Your brain isn't weak, it's tired. And tired systems don't need punishment, they need recovery. If this video helped you understand what's actually happening inside your mind, and you want more psychology-based self-improvement without hype or motivation tricks, consider subscribing to Beyond the Mind. In the next video, we'll talk about the comfort zone and why it quietly destroys your potential without you even noticing it. I'll see you there.